should straight people be playing gay roles, right? And my answer to that question is hell no. So I am back with another video, and today this is a passion topic, and this conversation is going to involve giving straight cis men too much, right? And what I mean by that is giving straight cis men more credit than they deserve for playing gay roles, right? And it's not just straight cis men, right? This is a problem when it comes to giving straight cis people in general, right, more recognition than we're actually giving queer people, right, when it comes to playing themselves on television, right? And so that is basically the basis of this video, and this video isn't going to have too much structure. This is basically a rant. So let's start off with what is the inspiration behind this video, right? So not too long ago, there was this video of Tamron Hall, of the Tamron Hall show going around, in which she had invited the cast of P Valley to her show. And within this video, right, specifically the one that went viral, we see her having this conversation with the actor who plays Little Murder within the show, right? And within this video, Tamron Hall gives him immaculate amounts of flowers, right? She goes on this rant of how he's going to be nominated for an Emmy for this role, right? And not only that, right, but how important it was for him to be seen on television and how amazing he is in this role, right? She has this man crying, right? Now, it would have been fine if this was his own single interview, because I'm all for giving Black actors and actresses their credit and their flowers to the point that they're crying, because we don't see that enough. And Black actors and Black actresses do not get enough credit and recognition, right? But when we have basically a significant amount of the cast within your show on the same time period, right, and they're all individually sitting next to each other, and specifically you have a couple seats down an actual gay man who is actually playing a gay Black thin person who is fat. The last time we saw someone like Uncle Clifford was from Noah's Ark, and that was years ago. The fact that she sat up there and praised the straight cis man for playing a DL Black man, a role that we are often seeing when it comes to Black queer representation within media, is wild. Seeing a couple sits down of Nico Annan, who is an and because this needs to be a point, right, who is an active queer Black person playing another Black queer fat person, who has an active love interest, who is a main character, and you not give Nico Annan his props. Instead, you decide to praise a straight cis Black man who is playing a role we've saw over and over and over throughout cinema. It's very telling that Tamron Hall is a straight cis woman. It is very telling, right? A question that is often had among, at least it's often had amongst me, right? Should straight people be playing gay roles, right? And my answer to that question is hell no. And this is a perfect example of why not. Because every time a straight cis person plays a gay role, they get 20 times recognition, acclaim, fame than a gay person would get if they were playing that role. You know, we could have straight cis people playing as gay roles if we were seeing an equal amount of gay people who were in mainstream media, who were actors, who were singers, that were able to benefit from actual queer aesthetics because they're actual queer people, but we're not, right? Instead, we're seeing this big ass gap, right, between straight cis people who are able to benefit from queer aesthetic, right, and queer people, you know, who are not as queer presenting as a lot of these straight people are, right, that are not getting any of the recognition, not getting the same stardom as these straight people, right? And that in itself becomes this problem. You're taking these opportunities away from other queer people, right? And furthermore, you're blocking us out of the mainstream, right? Well, not only that, but now these people that I'm thinking are supposed to be representation for me are actually not representation for me at all. They actually don't know my experience. I think often a lot of times, right, straight cis people point the finger and say, well, yeah, right, that's, proper representation. This should matter, right? This should be an example of how progressive we've gotten in society, that we're allowing straight cis men to be seen in media playing a gay role, right? But is it progressive really when these men are just statistically being added on to the wage gap? In reality, we're never going to see them play gay roles again. They're not giving back. They don't actually have range to talk about any queer topics, right? Or encourage queer black folks, right? Like, look at the interviews of the actors who played in Moonlight, right? They don't know a lick about how important they are to queer black folks, right? Or what it means to be representing queer black folks, right? They don't have a lick of that. They don't even have a conceptualization of what that means. And that often bears the question of why are they playing these roles that they don't know what it means to actually play these roles, right? And they're just playing characters, right? With a lot of these actors often referencing, especially when it comes to Moonlight, like, oh, I took inspiration from my gay friend, or yeah, this is written by a gay person. So yeah, I kind of went off that. And it's like, well, what did that even mean, right? As to go back, right? Is this really representation if they're just gonna act like straight men, right? If they're just gonna take more straight male roles, right? If they're just going to benefit within the cinema realm in which a straight man would, right? In terms of critical acclaim and commercial acclaim, right? In the terms of getting leading roles, being put in more leading roles, right? Because they are ultimately straight men. Is that representation? Is that really representation for me as a queer person? No, it's not. Because the reality of it is, and it doesn't actually normalize queerness as much as we think, because at the end of the day, right, we have examples of, as we're seeing with the actor who plays Little Murder, where people are easily being able to say, oh, right, don't forget this is a straight man, in which people are in the comments of this reminding everyone how straight this man actually is, and further, to me, right, reminding us that queer representation in media is not actual queer representation, that in some form, in some shape and form, right? Some way and form, we as queer black people, we have to bow down to the straight hierarchy. That, yeah, we can have these people play gay on screen, right? But yeah, we're not going to actually give y'all any opportunities. We're not actually going to progress you guys within this sector of media, right? Because we're still going to give it to the people who've always been dominating within this spectrum, right? It's a very crumb moment, right? It's a very, let's give them crumbs, right? It's a very Issa Rae, yes, right? Let's give queer black folks nothing in actuality, right? And this is often what this is, right? It's not what it feels like. This is what it is. And this is not just a Little Murder problem, right? Or this is not just a problem that just exists within the show of P-Valley. This happens on all diasporas, right? Some of the most critically acclaimed actors that are out right now have been very connected to playing gay roles first, and that gay role taking them into the stratosphere, right? Another perfect example is Moonlight. Moonlight is often, right, every couple years, right, Moonlight goes trending for winning Best Picture, right? And basically their whole rundown of them winning a significant amount of Oscars for that film. And it often goes trending for that reason. And it's often praised, right, for the Oscars finally recognizing black queer work, right? And that once again connects to the problem. And the real question is Moonlight really queer work when it's directed by a straight man and all the actors that play within this film are straight men? And on top of that, the only person who would actually win an Oscar and be nominated for an Oscar when it comes to the acting realm of Moonlight would be the only straight character within this entire film, and he's not not even a lead character. None of the lead characters within the film were nominated. None of them were. Same for Barry Jenkins. Moonlight arguably made Barry Jenkins' career, and this is a straight man. The only person that is gay that is connected to Moonlight is the writer. Yes, there needs to be some accountability held on these gay writers who decide to write films like this and give them to straight directors and allow straight people to play them, because that is often constantly occurring. When we look at Call Me By Your Name, I believe Brokeback Mountain, it's being written by gay people, but these gay writers are not actually doing the work to making sure that this is actually benefiting the community in the sense that these roles are going to gay men, so we can rise in the sector of cinema, right? So we can all benefit from this, right? Whether that be monetarily or commercially, right, or critically. You know, in a perfect world, in all three, it's almost as if it's like this thing of like, oh yeah, that's what I had to do to get on, right? You know, as I said before, right, the actors that have played in Moonlight, you know, continuously benefit from queer aesthetic, especially the person who played the leading role in the movie. He's constantly, you know, using queer aesthetic to his benefit, but moving in society as a straight cis man and being able to accumulate the benefits of that. And that's often Oscars and loads of amounts of money. People, right, you know, putting them on this pedestal of attractiveness. And thus can be said about the actors of Moonlight. None of those actors that have played in Moonlight have since played in any gay role. They've been on the straight cis shit, okay? They've been playing in straight cis roles, and those are mainly the roles they've been taking up, winning amazing awards, getting massive amounts of money for, and this is ultimately due to the fact that their first big role was playing a gay person, right? And this took them in the stratosphere, and ever since then they've never been down. And this is supposed to be a quote-unquote queer black film. Is wild. At this point, like, this is a big way to get on. This has become too much of a continuum that we are seeing within media, right? Harry Styles, right? Prince. Like, Prince is literally a man that has built his career off queer aesthetics. And there are some gay people that would literally argue down about how representatory Prince is for queer people. And it's like, it just came out a few weeks ago that Prince is a whole conservative and was against gay marriage. Like, what? Like, Prince is like queer baiting at its best, right? And how beneficial it really can be for a straight person to give into like queerness. Everything that is Prince, he stole from queer people. But the fact that Prince was able to, you know, nonetheless benefit, meanwhile people that actually went out like that in society were getting beat on and thrown into jail systems and discriminated against and would be caused harm because they looked like Prince, right? Because, you know, that was how they truly wanted to express themselves. Prince was just using it as a way to, you know, monetize off these amazing and beautiful aesthetics that queer people created. And that one boy, right, Timothy, right, Call Me By Your Name, right, which is very equivalent to that one movie. I forgot the name of it, but I'll insert it. It's basically the gay version of that, right? In which it yet again won an Oscar, and it once again, right, shot up the actors who played in that role's careers dramatically after playing those roles, right? And those are not queer actors, right? And same with Zendaya, right? Zendaya is another straight cis person that is within media right now that is taking over the acting industry by playing a queer role, and she is not queer by any means. And look at the success, not only commercially but also critically, that Zendaya is having for playing a queer role, right? And meanwhile, her queer counterpart is not being nominated for these roles, and that in itself is wild to me. Same for Timothy, a woman that continuously benefits from the fact that he gives into queer aesthetics. He literally is an A-list actor based on the fact that he is a major queer baiter. Now, who he gives into? No one, right? He's not hitting it for me, girl. He's hitting it for the straight cis girlies more than anything, right? And same for Harry Styles, right? People, it's often this questioning of why did Harry Styles play in Don't Worry About Me or in that one gay film? I don't think it was Don't Worry About Me, right? right? And while we're seeing hairstyles giving into like massive amounts of queer baiting, queer aesthetics, and that's because it is monetarily successful for a straight cis person to give into queer aesthetics. One thing that bros said that is true, right, especially when it comes in society, right, straight people no longer exist, right? And not in the terms of actuality, but in the terms of you can no longer exist in the mainstream media and just be straight, right? If you want to be an A-list actor, there has to be something different about you. And that is often related to being queer, being that different girl. Or even the fact that Prince is able to be on such a hierarchy with straight cis men is wild. Like, the fact that straight cis men can like Prince but be homophobic is crazy to me. But I think that goes to show, right, how these things actually play out in actual society. Because at the end of the day, straight cis people can go to sleep at night happy knowing that Prince is a straight man. He's just a straight man that like to give into queer aesthetics for monetarily gain. And that is somehow something straight people can accept and respect. They're like, yeah, like, you can be gay for a bag, but don't be gay in real life, right? God forbid you're gay in real life for the actual pleasure. Because it's cool to be queer unless you are an actual queer person. Because I challenge everyone that watches this video to look around, right, and show me an equivalent queer person that is Zendaya, right? Show me a queer Harry Styles. You cannot show me one because they do not exist. Because they are being surpassed by their straight cis counterparts. And why? Because you can give into queer aesthetics, but because you are straight, you benefit from everything that comes with that, right? And you accumulate all the success that comes with that, right? Because you're the perfect celebrity, right? You know, you're just enough queer to keep the girls going, right? To give the crumbs to queer folks so they're not actively holding these institutions that are controlling our media and the media that is coming out. They get to all sit back and calm their nerves because they can all go to sleep at night knowing that these are actually all straight people. In conclusion, I encourage straight cis people who are watching this, stop doing a Tamron Hall. Stop giving straight cis people more credit than they deserve for playing queer roles and not having that same energy when it comes to other queer people within media, because I have not seen any queer person who has played in any queer role be hyped up on the same level as a Zendaya or a Timothee, whatever his name is, or the actor who plays Little Murder by straight cis people. I get it, right? Straight cis people are gonna support straight cis people, but do not do it on the behalf of my representation, because Little Murder is not representation. Straight Harry Styles kissing another straight cis man is not representation for me. Zendaya playing a drug addicted queer woman is not representation for me. It's not. I'm sorry. But that's it. Bye.